name is Alice Ikuru, and I am a project coordinator.
Hey, it's Kellen, and today on Diversified Game, you guys, this is my first show back from VidCon 2022. You guys will see, if you haven't, follow on at Diversified Game everywhere, or at Kellen Cash with the K everywhere. You'll see all the influencers that I got to talk to and people behind the scenes. The footage and pictures will be rolling out. But today, I have Miss Alice, who I met at a Miami-Dade chamber event, which I tell all of you guys, join the chamber and bear with me while I talk with this Invisalign. Somewhere down the line, I might take it out of my mouth. But she's going to give us the game on what it is and what it takes to become a project coordinator. And I know because with her African background, she'll be a future entrepreneur. I just know it. It's a gift. But Alice, welcome to the show. How are you doing today?
I'm doing well, Kellen. How are you?
Blessed by the best. Let's get into it. Tell people your day-to-day. What does a project coordinator do? What type of education did you need to get that position? And we'll start there.
Absolutely. So a project coordinator essentially is like a project manager in a sense where you have the project in front of you and your entire duty is to ensure that the project is being executed within the budget and the scope and is delivered on time. So I come from a perspective of I'm looking at the project from the top, looking down, seeing everything that needs to be done, and then trying to organize activities within the project to meet the particular time frame and the customer deliverables. So that's pretty much what I do in a broad scope. The kind of education you need to do this kind of work is complicated because it took me a long way to get here. But I am originally a civil engineer. I graduated from civil engineering in 2019, and then I went through several transitions into project management, dipping my foot into scheduling a little bit. And then I ended up here based on kind of like my interests and my soft skills that I already had.
Gotcha. And I mean, you are, boiler room ready, boiling hot. I'm saying all the boiling because she went to Purdue, y'all. But, you went to Purdue, great school, as long as, you don't have to face, Stanford or another team that I like. But do you have to have your degree already to become, like, could you have started this position while in school, or do you need a bachelor's?
I would say a degree was definitely helpful, and mostly because my position was getting based on networking in a way, because my manager also went to my school, and so he saw my resume. I was like, oh, looks familiar. But I would say that the degree definitely would help because you cannot understand the complexity of the job without particularly understanding what you would do in that kind of situation. So having that theoretical knowledge is definitely necessary, but I believe it's something that can also be learned over time. But to be there as quickly as I got there, I would say education is definitely necessary.
And you just said something so crucial. If you guys don't listen to anything else thus far, she said the person, her supervisor, went to her same school. That networking and that connection, woo! I mean, you've already seen it. But when a lot of people say, hey, I can't get a job, right? I can't get this. Sometimes your network is your net worth. How was it just on paper that they just saw your name? Here's, you got this African name, but you still got hired? Because people say, oh, I don't get hired because of the way I look, the way I talk, but you at least got the, an in to have a conversation off of that strong Purdue name. So the power of networking, when did you learn that? Or was that just by chance?
I would say it's something that has played over and over again throughout my entire career. I would honestly, my very first internship was through networking. I literally was looking at all the it was my freshman year. I was looking for all the engineering companies in the area, and I just called every single one of them. I did not care like if they would hire me, if they would not. I just called every single one of them, and I asked them, "Are you looking for an intern?" And that was networking in a way, because if I when I threw my resume through the regular submission portals, I was ignored like 100% of the time because I was a freshman and I didn't know a lot. But when I started calling them, they were like, "Well, she has some kind of dedication." So I would say it's something that's played a key role in all of my positions I've held. Even my next internship, I met the recruiter. It was at an SB conference, and towards the end, we're both just really tired. And I just went to him. I didn't even talk about a job. I just spoke about how I was just so tired. I've been walking all day. And then I was just like, "Well, what does your company do?" And I found out he was Nigerian. And there's always something to connect with someone on. That's something I kind of realized very quickly. And it's kind of helped me with all of my positions that I've had literally throughout my entire career. I would say that for sure. So networking is extremely important.
So, and you let the people know that you were a super eagle. And we know, and that's why I said, folks, she'll be an entrepreneur somewhere in the future. If she's not already building, something right there in on Lakey.
It's
But
cooking, yeah.
it's yeah.
It's
But
cooking.
yeah, it's cooking. Oh, you got something? Tell us. I mean, let me be the first to know,
I mean, I don't really have anything to share so far, but I have been working a lot on a lot of things in the background, and that's why it's been so important for me to kind of like hold the positions that I hold, because they kind of give me the knowledge and experience that I need to know how to run a business. Because I feel like if you're working, the most important thing you should be learning is how to help yourself. You shouldn't work to live. You should live to, or you shouldn't live to work. You should work to live. Essentially, that's kind of like how I've been able to take every skill to transfer back to my personal goals and achievements.
I love to hear it. Tell the people, because networking is crucial and that you can relate with people. Being saying you're a Nigerian, someone's right now saying, "I don't hear the accent." Maybe you got to buy her book for that, right? But and it's not out yet that I know of, but it's coming. But I want to focus on what can help somebody right now. How did you get familiar with the Dutch language? And, are you fluent in Dutch as well?
I am not familiar with Dutch in any way. I do not understand the Dutch language in any way, no.
Okay, and I say that, and that's where we sometimes get bad information off Facebook, but it talks about British and Dutch languages on a profile that was connected to yours. So I was just curious on, how you got that. I can send you a screenshot so you don't think, what do you mean by that? But with the project coordinator position, and you're young, so you have plenty of, time to grow into your own. For you, what is the goal, title wise, that you see yourself in the next 5 to 10 years?
I would honestly say that I've put myself in a very interesting path. Right now, I'm working towards becoming a project manager. That's like the most that's like what is right in front of me, and that is what I see so far. I don't really see myself working in corporate America for past the age of 30. So I would say maybe for the next 5 years, I'm trying to grow quickly through that whole project management phase, be at a point where I'm owning my own project and executing my own project from start to finish. And then I'll be ready to throw in the cap and move on to other personal things and working on my own company with my brother.
Oh, I love it. Family business, keeping it in the family is important. As long as, family understands this is a business, not your personal piggy bank.
Yeah.
Whether it be now or sometime in the future, what is a community give back that you would love to do?
I would definitely say I'd like to encourage a lot of people to kind of understand what exactly career path means, because for me, when I was in college, it didn't really make sense to me. I thought that there was just like this very defined, very rigid way in which a person has to go in order to succeed. You do one thing, you do get a master's, you get this. It was all very stepped, but I want to be at a position of mentorship where people kind of know like, well, it's okay to explore everything or explore nothing. Just, have fun while doing it. And at least as long as you're learning and you're growing, that's the position you should be in. If you're not learning or growing, it's time to move on and go and see something else. So I just want to give people that courage to be able to know when it's time to let go or when it's time to keep focusing and learning more.
I love to hear that. And I want to talk about something personal for a teachable moment, both here in America and in Africa, because again, I was talking about how you sound, and my wife is from Cameroon and she always says, I'm never losing my accent. Immigrants we can do things and say things that, Americans, especially Black Americans, can't get away with. Because it's the accent. People just say, oh, you're a foreigner, you're from Cameroon. How have you seen, going back and forth, whether you're in America or you're in Nigeria, does it benefit you to sound like an American in Nigeria? And when you are here in America, if you want to, if you can, throw in a Nigerian accent when it fits. Like, do you ever see like, oh, let me flip the dialect, or are you just always you wherever you go?
I am definitely not always me. I would say that especially when things get very frustrating or like it's just out of your control, the accent definitely drops off and you just go straight into like a Nigerian phase where you're like, if you understand me, you do. If you don't, I don't care. So it definitely happens. And the switch comes when it's least expected as well. But I would say I developed this this whole American accent thing after my freshman year, because I got so tired of people asking, do you speak Nigerian? And it was like, there's no language like Nigerian. I don't know how to explain it to you. Or like hearing the, oh, you speak English really well. And it was just very frustrating to hear those things over and over again. So you're just like, I'd rather not explain myself and just like coast through and just have everyone believe in American until they ask me, where are you from? And then I say, I'm Nigerian. They're like, well, I don't hear the accent. So that's always pretty much how it plays out. I would say that it changes. If I'm with a group of Nigerians right now, you will not hear a single American accent in the room. And that's pretty much how it is with most of us, honestly.
Well, you are with a real African, and Nigerian blood runs through his body. So you can talk however you want to talk that talk. Instead of your talk it if you want to talk it, because this is diversified game where everybody is welcome to say what they want to say. You can't be canceled over here because we ain't looking for those other folks' approval anyway. So, feel free, because for me, I'll be honest, people know I love non-American accents, and really? It's also, and it's because, and people say, oh, because it's exotic or whatever. No, I just like to learn, because everything doesn't always have to sound the way you grew up to sound. So, and in honesty, I haven't dated, like I'm an old married guy now, but I didn't even date American women like that. It was
really
not at all. American woman, stay away from me. Yeah.
Was there a reason?
Because being from California, especially, the women did not, that I encountered growing up a lot, did not want to cook or did not feel like they had to cook. And it's like, that's, I can cook. I'm a pretty good sous chef, but that's the reason. And with cooking comes a lot of other things that you won't submit yourself to do. So people always think my wife and I are like, have some, crazy affair relationship, because they're like, who does that? She lets you do that, or you let her do that? And it's like, she's a person. You do what you got to do. So you guys live in that world of let in a box. And I'll give you an example. My wife is a physician. When she would have to sleep in the same room as men at the hospital in Seattle, people are like, you let your wife sleep with other guys in a room? I'm like, yeah, because one big old, I don't even want to go there. I do. It's not Grey's Anatomy, folks. They're stinky in the hospital. People are dying, so it's again, but let is a word that adults, I don't think, should use for another adults, because you don't let people gonna do what they want to do. But that's why it's the submission part of, you know, our roles in life. So my wife can work 16 hours. I remember when she would do 16-hour surgeries as like a student or an intern, and she'd still come back and cook her aru, her jollof rice, get that yam, pounded yam, ask me which one do I want of the geri, maybe yellow or white. I want that yellow one if we have it. But you know, so that's it. And don't forget the pepe, whatever you cook, you know. So that's why that's my personal preference, that, you know, not all American women, but many just show that they don't really want to be in a relationship with someone like me, because they will let somebody do something. So, you know.
Yeah, I mean, there's definitely a big difference between dating, or there's definitely a big difference between relationships here in the US and back in Nigeria. I would say that, for example, from looking at my parents, I can see certain things that, or a certain dynamic that they have in their relationship, where my mom has worked all day or she's been busy all day, and then my dad comes back and he's hungry and he wants someone to cook for him, and then she does. And then he comes back here and then tries to replicate the same thing of coming to say, well, my wife is not here, so now it's you're the first daughter and you have the new responsibility. And it's just very different for me all the time, because I'm not used to that as well. I've like almost been conditioned to, it's very me, like very me centered. And that came from the whole American culture of focusing on you and not necessarily thinking about other people around you. So yeah, it's very interesting to see those kind of things and how they play out in relationships.
Yeah, and I'm a semi-pro date doctor too. I have a whole application and everything for people, for couples married. During VidCon, I might have made number 5. I got to check on my Sacramento friend that I had met and connected her with this guy she was staring at the bar. But you know, you please, if you lose your accent, don't lose the African side of you, because you see a lot of folks are single. And it's a reason why, with that American thinking, you know, when you can go anywhere in the world and everybody in the world is here, especially in South Florida, and get connected. Let the people know if there is a way, a professional way, because I don't want you wolves coming contacting this young lady saying, hey, I got bride price ready to go. No, you need to first, you know, contact your father. You know how this thing goes. But let them know. Let's say someone says, you know what, my daughter would love to kind of follow in your path in engineering. We need more women in engineering. We definitely need more Black women in engineering, and Black people at all. How can people, you know, contact you if they say, you know what, I'm looking for a mentor?
Definitely through emails. I would definitely be more available through emails or LinkedIn. My LinkedIn is Alice Ikuru. My email is aliceikuru@gmail.com. And best way to contact me, honestly. Any other way is, I don't know, it's luck. I don't know. So best way, LinkedIn and email.
Okay. And you know, that last comment I had sparked one more question, I think, maybe. I never guarantee, but I want to know, being a Black woman in engineering, have you found it, even though you have a job and you have a job with a great company, have you found, you know, that you have to like prove yourself even more than your counterparts, or have things kind of just been like, nah, man, I went to Purdue. You guys had to go do that, you know, at the HBCU maybe, but Purdue, they put some respect on my name and my credentials. Like, give me your story on that in the experience.
So I never realized that Purdue was a big deal until I actually left Purdue. And then anytime I said I went to Purdue, people were like, ooh, I'm like, ooh, like, okay. Because Purdue is in the middle of nowhere. It's in Midwest, Indiana. Dead, you can't see anything. So when you're in that little bubble, you don't really realize, like, so you're proving yourself to your classmates or yourself, or trying to pass your classes even. But when you graduate from Purdue, it's kind of like the expectations from you are a lot higher. Well, I don't know if it's for me as a Black woman or for me as a woman in engineering, I'm not sure, but it's a lot higher than I would say a lot of people I was interviewing some candidates for a job a few days ago, and I looked at their resume, and I also looked at like their like them in the interview, and I was like, well, if I showed up like that, I would not have a job. But these were like considered the strong candidates, and I was like, well, what is this? Like, what makes them so special? Like, why do they stand out more? And I got to realize it's because they're white men. So regardless of where you go, as a Black woman, you have to work twice as hard, and you have to continuously prove yourself and prove that you deserve to be where you are. Otherwise, people will always look at you like you're stupid, and you know, you just have to stand out one way or the other.
Well, when you say, they look at you like you're stupid, there's also okay, you're young, beautiful. Maybe you're just here to be eye candy. Have you ever had your, looked at like, hey, I got a brain, y'all, and had to say, you guys remember I went to Purdue, and I keep saying Purdue, you guys, because you know what you're supposed to do at Purdue? You're supposed to hail Purdue. That's their that's their motto for y'all that don't know. But so yeah, that have you being young and being, I just want to make it easier for someone who's like, I'm getting the same thing, because I think all people need to link up, all women engineers, Black women engineers, all those organizations help, because they might not understand the way you wear your hair at times, right? You might wear it 9 different places, 9 different ways. And so have you ever got that, that feeling? And when you get that feeling, educate somebody on what you can do to make sure people respect your credentials and your experience. Like, what are some tricks? Give them one that they can, do if you have it.
I would say always present the facts. You're not trying to prove that you're the most intelligent person in the room, but you're trying to show people the work. They only believe that you know what you're doing if you're showing that you know what you're doing, and not necessarily saying that you know what you're doing. No matter how many times you say, I went to Purdue, I graduated with a first class, I have a 4.0 GPA. It doesn't matter, as long as you can show that you know the work you're doing, and the work you're doing is bringing positive results. That's the only way you can set yourself apart, because the words are not enough for you to start to enunciate how you feel like you should be treated, or how you feel like you should be respected. That is not how it typically works in the STEM industry. It's very populated by men. Men have big egos. It's hard for you to try to speak your way through respect my work. And it's just best to just show, and then whatever comes after, you deal with it. That's how I've just learned to overcome everything.
Do you get a difference of attention when you have natural hair versus when I met you, you had, your long flowing hair? Yes, folks, I know I'm going to say it because I'm not going to sugarcoat nothing. I love the natural, but I heard Stormy Wellington recently here in South Florida. She's like, people look at me different when I have my wig on versus then she took her wig right off. And I didn't know anything about her, but I said, yeah, I'm front row, like, yeah, take that thing off. So do you see a difference professionally when you come in with natural hair versus a long hair?
Yeah, I mean, definitely changing hairstyles is a big thing in the industry here. I know that there was a time, because I had very long, big afro, and there was a time I came with my puff, and people were like just looking at me, like it was interesting. And then shortly after I dyed it, it was like a burnt orange, and they were like very interested. As a Black woman, you should know that we change our hair very frequently, and I don't know why it's still hard for people to understand that concept. So I started wearing wigs to work, and then one time I wore like this bob, and then all of a sudden they were like, I love your haircut, it looks really good. Whereas when I had braids on, I never got that comment of, I like your haircut, or like, your hair looks really good. Or like when I changed to a different long flowy wig again, they were like, this looks really good on you. So I feel like I definitely see the change, or the difference in attitude based on the hairstyle I bring to work. I cut my hair a few weeks back. I still have not gone into the office like this, because I'm like very worried. I don't want to start to explain, well, why is your hair long and why is your hair short? It's something that's just a distraction that is unnecessary. So when I'm at work, I've just decided to stick to one wig, and anything that comes afterwards, they take it. So yeah, that's pretty much how I am navigating that, because I have seen the difference for myself for how differently people react to different hairstyles on me.
All right, you guys, I had to get blessed the game like that because Stormy Wellington, Alice, they aren't the only ones. You know, so many women have seen this, and we have to change the game because it's not just an American thing. It's, you know, I think it's even harder when you go to Africa and you're a man and you got locks in your hair, or you're a man and you don't want to wear a suit, or you're a woman and, in Africa, we're still fighting, we're fighting equality everywhere, right? For genders and everything. But we got to put some respect on however people present themselves. That's how they are. It's not like you going home with them and you're not marrying them. So let them be who they want to be when they want to be. But that's why I'm an entrepreneur. And for all those men you were talking who have a big ego, such a big ego. Keep that in the song and the dance floor. Check your ego at the door. I thank you for sharing the game. Any last words you want to give the people?
I was going to speak briefly on what you said about presenting yourself. And so, yeah, there's a big difference between how you would present yourself here and how you would present yourself back in an African country. It's definitely something that you have to think about every single time. I want people to know, people coming from African countries here, it's not a big deal. Nobody cares about what you look like. You don't have to do too much. But when you're coming from here to go back to an African country and you're trying to present yourself or be there, you have to be very extra. If you think you've done enough, double it. Honestly, double it. Otherwise, you will get stares, you will get comments, and if you're trying to avoid that, just blend in. Honestly, that's the most important thing. Blend in wherever you are. Otherwise, there will be looks, stares, and comments. So being yourself only works in America, doesn't really work in African countries. Just fun fact.
I'm gonna tell you a funny story off air, but you guys have been blessed with the game. All the best stuff, just so you guys know, I've said it before, is told off air, but I never want to embarrass anyone, and I never want to, I just want to give you guys the game so you can get better. Some of this stuff too, you won't understand because it's too deep. Or, you haven't got your Africa plan yet. Some of you don't even have your passport. You need to do that. And you also need to check out my course on how to travel for your first time to Africa. Maybe your second time. I'm going to start on the course for business and investment. Just real game, real talk, no 419, but hit my line. You guys share the game. It will change somebody's life. Be blessed.
Hi, everyone. Have you ever been curious about visiting Africa? Which African country were you interested in? Kenya, Nigeria, Uganda, South Africa, Ethiopia? Which country are you interested in? My good friend, Kellen Cash Coleman, came up with a course called My First Trip to Africa that'll guide you through this process. It's only $20, and in this course you'll learn about passports, visas, vaccinations that you need before you go there, as well as a budget, how much the trip is going to cost. He also talks about what you should pack, what you should take with you, how you should travel on a budget. Did you know that $100 is worth 1,000 South African rand and over 10,000 Kenyan shillings? So imagine what you can do with $100 back home. I say back home because I'm from Sudan, I'm African, I already know how it's like. I know that, when you convert Canadian and American money, it goes a long way when you're traveling across Africa. So if you're curious, if Africa is a place that you've always wanted to go, always wanted to move there, Kellen Cash is the person to ask. Check out the course. There's a little preview you can listen to before you actually purchase it. If you're interested in this course, visit www.diversifiedgame.com. Don't miss out.